Welcome back to the Hope HOPE, helping our people elevate. If you're new here, I appreciate you for tapping in. This is more than just content. This is about reclaiming knowledge, uncovering truth, and breaking free from the narratives that have kept us disconnected from our true history. One thing I tell my daughter is education is more than just what they teach us in school. It's the foundation of self-awareness, empowerment, and liberation. When you know your past, you gain wisdom to shape your future. But when you don't, you become another part of this matrix, blindly moving through a system designed to keep you in the dark. That's why we're here with this Hope, HOPE, helping our people elevate. We're here to shed light on the stories, achievements, and contributions of those who came before us, to show that our excellence is not just in the past, it is the foundation of the world we live in today. So whether you're returning or tuning in for the first time, stay locked in, hit that button, subscribe. Let's build together. Peace and love.
On behalf of Akuno Senko for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope. HOPE. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate. And seeking knowledge make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that my flesh can pass away.
Black educators and their impact. Lucy Craft Laney of 1854 to 1933 established the Haynes Normal and Industrial Institute in Augusta, Georgia, in 1833, providing black children with education when public schools wouldn't. She was a major advocate for black girls' education, paving the way for teachers' training and higher education for black women. Charlotte Fortin Grimke of 1837 to 1914, she was one of the first northern black teachers to travel south and educate freed slaves during the Civil War. She also taught at the Penn School, now Penn Center in South Carolina, one of the first schools for freed black people.
Penn School first was started in 1862 as the first school for blacks in the South.
All I knew about this island was Penn School, Brick Church, and the area around here. Family was involved all their lives at Penn. My father worked there. He went to school there.
I attended Penn School, started attending in 1933. I graduated in 1945. I spent about 5 years on the campus.
My mother is a graduate of Penn School. Her graduating class is 1946. I had the opportunity, of course, to become involved with all the graduates of Penn School and also to know the stories, to hear about the courses, to hear a lot about Penn School.
Now, the building in the far left, that's Orchard Cottage. This cottage was built in the 30s. In other words, I helped work on that building some when I was in the carpenter shop. This was a requirement. After a certain age, you would have to take a certain amount of just one subject, but you took a smattering of all. In other words, I did some basketry, shoemaking, carpentry, auto mechanics, and wheelwrighting.
Mary McLeod Bethune of 1875 to 1955. She founded the Bethune-Cookman University, originally a school for black girls in 1904, with only $1.50 in faith. Booker T. Washington of 1856 to 1915. He established the Tuskegee Institute in 1881, focusing on vocational training for providing economic opportunities for black people. He was also one of the most influential educators and public speakers, shaping policies in black education in the early 20th century. Anna Julia Cooper of 1858 to 1964. She earned her PhD at the age of 66, becoming one of the first black women in the U.S. to achieve this. She advocated for higher education for black women, famously stating, "When and where I enter, the whole race enters with me." Carter G. Woodson of 1875 to 1950, known as the father of black history. He founded Negro History Week in 1926, which later became Black History Month. So you wouldn't have no Black History Month if it wasn't for Carter G. Woodson. And it was first initially called Negro History Week. But he created the Journal of Negro History to ensure that black stories were preserved and taught. Fannie Jackson Coppin of 1837 to 1913. She was the first black woman to become a school principal, Institute for Colored Youth, now Cheyney University. She also implemented teachers training programs to ensure black educators had proper credentials. John Chavis of 1763 to 1838. He was the first black teacher in the United States and an ordained Presbyterian minister. He also operated a private school in North Carolina where he taught both black and white students. Charlotte Hawkins Brown, from 1883 to 1961, founded Palmer Memorial Institute, a prestigious school for black students that focused on leadership and college preparations. She also championed black women's empowerment through education. Marva Collins of 1936 to 2015 founded the West Side Preparatory School in Chicago, proving that black students labeled as unteachable could excel academically. Her story also inspired the movie The Marva Collins Story, starring Cicely Tyson. So if you haven't seen that movie, go check it out. And it's pretty much about Marva Collins, played by Cicely Tyson.
For teaching.
Why bother? They won't learn.
They won't learn if we don't bother.
I've scheduled a field trip for next Wednesday, the zoo.
But the children have already gone to the zoo.
The children love field trips.
I think you love field trips, Miss Denny. It's easier than teaching. Why, the children don't even know which zoo they visited.
In case you haven't noticed, Mrs. Collins, we are in a ghetto. These children don't want to learn.
The ghetto is not the enemy, Miss Denny.
I suppose you mean we are.
Indifference is.
I've had it up to here with your platitudes, Mrs. Collins. I, for one, don't get my kicks out of playing dress-up and strutting through this school quoting the classics.
I dress the way I do, Miss Denny, because I happen to believe that my children deserve a positive image.
I agree with you very much.
Kelly Miller of 1863 to 1939, the first black student at Johns Hopkins University, later a mathematics professor and sociologist, a strong advocate for black education in mathematics and the sciences. John Hope of 1868 to 1936, the first black president of Morehouse College and later Atlanta University, making him a key figure in higher education for African Americans. He focused on liberal arts education, seeing it as a key to long-term racial uplifting. Edmonia Highgate of 1844 to 1870 taught free black people in Louisiana during Reconstruction, risking her life amid racial violence. She was an outspoken advocate for black education despite threats from white